You think that's it?
I do. Yeah.
Luigi, we're the aliens!
Hey everyone, I'm gonna be at MomoCon this weekend. I'm gonna be hanging with my friends and meeting fans and doing fun stuff, and more information down below. Hooray! So there's a new game out called Mixtape, and it's been generating a lot of controversy. On the one hand, you have gaming journalists giving this game rave reviews. IGN gave it a 10, GameSpot gave it a 9. That's higher than Alien Isolation, so it must be better. As a former Akron, Ohio resident, I haven't seen dick eating this crazy since 2018 LeBron James.
Mixtape sets a new standard for coming-of-age stories in video games, and does so with a masterful sense of style.
He's trying to gas it up, bro. The dick eating. The dick eating is wild. They be eating that dick. Oh my god. Then meanwhile, you have the hashtag real gamers. The ones review bombing the game on Metacritic and making the most dog shit arguments on Twitter ever. Yeah, according to them, this game is woke slop, even though the game does not include a single gay character in it. And they came up with that conclusion on their own and did not get their opinion from Jeffrey at Palm Beach Pete.
I'm in the house with Celine and Sue and my most beautiful lady.
Is that fucking Money Longer by Lil Uzi in the background? All jokes aside, the entire discussion around Mixtape has just been really disappointing to me. It's either a bunch of people getting mad at the game for having an agenda, even though it doesn't, or critics not really being critical. And between the critics and the haters, I don't think anyone is actually talking about this game genuinely. Thankfully, I adhere to no one except myself. So get ready for the first review of Mixtape that is 100% fully my own opinion. I in fact did not cry at the ending, but I also don't hate minorities.
For tonight, you will rely on your brains.
But to also make it clear, I went into Mixtape very optimistically. I would love to use this game as an example of why this game works and why Life is Strange, for example, doesn't. There's just one problem with that. I didn't really like the game. Now, it's not completely irredeemable. For one thing, the game is optimized really well. Yes, that's right, an Unreal Engine 5 game runs not like dog shit. I also do appreciate the fact that the game is much more linear. Now, there are also extremely large problems with how the game is linear, and I'll get to that later, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm just happy the game didn't fucking lie to me for once. There's no warning of your choices mattering in the game's story, mostly because there are no choices, period. No, instead, I got exactly what I expected from Mixtape. The game markets itself as a short, coming-of-age interactive story, and that's all the game is. However, here's the issue with all of that. At least the first big issue. A good interactive movie really rides or dies on the interactive movie being a good movie. And Mixtape just, it didn't do it for me, man. For one, I just did not care about any of these characters. The first one, the main character, Stacey Rockford, is extremely pretentious and obnoxious. I get that's a kind of the point of the character, but I feel like she was stuck up her own ass for most of the game pretty much. And her whole music-headed personality came off as, again, more obnoxious than anything. Like I was hearing the female high school version of Patrick Bateman or something. I think that's more down to the voice actress's performance though, who sounds like she's trying way too hard to be from California.
Originally released in 1986 on the Transformers animated movie soundtrack. It's the cheese, the stuffed crust, the quattro formaggio. But this is my only sporting memory, and it feels tonally appropriate.
I'm trying to listen to the new Robert Palmer tape, but Evelyn, my supposed fiancée, keeps buzzing in my ear.
She really is one of the big reasons I did not enjoy this game at all. She has an obsession with music. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it fits the game and all. But the way she talks about music just, it comes off as obnoxious and performative. Now, again, this is a kind of intentional and kind of the point of the game. But the problem is there's nothing else that really hooks me about her character at all.
This is our bit of the big suck.
Shut your dumb ass up!
I do think there are good ideas with her character that are eventually done in the story, but it takes a while to get to them, which leads to a different problem I'll get to later. But for like 3/4 of the game, I was just extremely uninterested. She just didn't do it for me.
How did you feel?
I didn't feel anything.
Meanwhile, the other characters are just as lukewarm to me. The second character, Slater, is so one-dimensional, I'm actually having trouble analyzing him. He is a guy that is in the game, and that's all I remember. And for the most part, same for the third character, Cassandra, who is slightly more interesting, but less of who she is and more what happens to her. She has a whole rebellion thing and a whole drama with her dad, who in the game is an uptight police officer, which makes me wonder if Cassandra would have been a better main character in general for this game. If maybe you gave the whole music snobbery thing to her, but more as a kind of response to rebellion, how she maybe wants to express herself but can't, but the music she listens to does. That I feel would have been a lot more interesting, but in the meantime, I wasn't interested in anything else these characters were doing. Look, you can have unlikable characters in your video game. Mae Borowski in Night in the Woods is a pretty big asshole. I don't think Joel from The Last of Us is meant to be entirely likable. Don't even get me started on a game like GTA 5.
There it is. That's my boat.
You can have an unlikable main character in your game, but just don't make them uninteresting. But that's my issue with Mixtape. The characters are all so boring.
Canadian artist said,
The Iceman was a nice man, now I'm hot and cold.
Holy shit.
That shit is fucking trash.
I also just didn't really like the story, because a large chunk of it felt extremely disjointed. A big chunk of the game is going through memories and having music that plays during them, with Stacey constantly wanting a perfect song for every single moment, which also bleeds into her aspirations of being a music supervisor. And on paper, I really like a lot of this stuff. I can't emphasize that enough. The issue is, most of the story is just going through a bunch of memories, and nothing in the main story really happens until the last third of it, where Cassandra's dad comes into the story and actually starts to fucking with the characters, where that whole kind of drama is over and done with really quickly. But until then, it's a bunch of pretty out of order memories. Any kind of drama isn't explored until the latter part of the game, and on top of that, it just feels derivative. Like, I've seen this kind of cliche drama before, and there will be times when the game does kind of touch on something existential or greater, and it's okay, but it's so adamant on being so John Hughes inspired that it forgets what makes John Hughes movies so great. Like how in The Breakfast Club, John Hughes' best movie, he literally made a movie forcing these high school archetypes together in order for these more existential questions to start coming out of them. Things like generational trauma and fitting into roles and how adults can be just as childish as children. Mixtape, meanwhile, wants to emulate the vibe, but doesn't really have the depth, and I don't feel like sticks the landing as a result. I mean, just compare how a similar scene is written between these two. It's night and day. One scene just kind of ends prematurely.
Why do we have to run everything by you? You're ditching us.
I'm not ditching you. Grow up.
You don't get to leave and still tell us what to do. We're not your fucking sidekicks.
I think we should probably chill out.
You're being an asshole.
Fuck off.
Okay, bye.
While in a John Hughes movie, he would have me wishing for the scene to end prematurely, because the tension keeps building to a point where it's awkward and just leaves you silent.
So you just stripped to the things that you know. Shopping, nail polish, your father's BMW, and your poor, rich, drunk mother in the Caribbean. Shut up! And as far as being concerned about what's gonna happen when you and I walk down the hallways of school, you can forget it, because it's never gonna happen.
In comparison, Mixtape just feels so sanitized. You can have the visuals and style of a John Hughes movie, but you're nothing without his bite. The characters aren't as dynamic, and the themes aren't as powerful as in a John Hughes movie. It's homage without cohesion. On a pure narrative level, I just found it very mediocre. And I think all these problems are made worse by one simple thing. I think Mixtape fails at being a video game. This has been a point that a lot of people have been parroting, and I, honest to God, have been trying to avoid because I feel like it's pretty disingenuous. Like, video games can be whatever the fuck they want to be, you know? And Mixtape isn't doing that much different from, like, a visual novel or Night in the Woods, you know? Is Night in the Woods suddenly no longer a video game? But then I thought about what kind of game Mixtape could actually be, and yeah, you know what? There is a point to be made that while Mixtape is allowed to be a video game, the kind of game that Mixtape is really does not actually utilize the video game medium well. For one thing, there's no real replay value with it, something that my GOAT, my king, Night in the Woods has. But on that note, you can't really fail or die in Mixtape, which on its own is fine if the game provided me something in return. Like, you can't die in Sam and Max, but those games are engaging, because the writing is funny and there are some really challenging and fun puzzles in them. But I feel like maybe the game would have actually been better if you could fail some of these interactive segments the game throws throws at you. Take, for example, this side shot running scene, which is pretty much just automated the whole time. Now, in a movie, this kind of scene works because it's unpredictable. In a video game, though, once you understand that your buttons don't really do much, you are able to predict the entire scene within a nanosecond. But what if you could fill the segment like in fucking Geometry Dash or something? You would go, oh shit, I gotta protect this bitch. And boom, that unpredictability is part of the gameplay now. In fact, for a game with a lot of licensed songs in it, my big question is, why isn't this a rhythm game? Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like a narrative-driven Guitar Hero or something? Instead of Stacey Rockford just being a pretentious music fan, she could also be a musician herself. So her being an asshole could make more sense as she's an aspiring rock star. Even though these three kids are just in a shitty garage band, instead of the main character forcing songs into certain memories, they could instead be different venues they play at. That way, through interactivity, the player can also associate those songs with those memories. That would be a great solution for the game's disjointed storytelling. Like, in a movie, it'd be more clear if all this were an intentional choice. But in a video game, it feels more functional. It kind of has to be. When you're forced to walk up to a gold thing and press the square button on it to advance to the next scene, how can it not feel functional? So as a result, I don't feel like I'm engaging with a forward-moving plot, but instead of pressing square to go back to random flashbacks. But if I'm able to actually interact with the music in a tangible, real way, well then, I'll want to go to that gold thing and press the X button to do more Guitar Hero shit. And you can still have those goofy, like, cinematic moments in it. That'd be really unique, I think. The narrative is still part of the game, but now it's the reward. There's more catharsis for it. That's the most painful part of Mixtape. There is a good idea in here. It's just not built around a video game very well. Which is a shame because if it were, it could have been kind of fucking awesome. So my overall thoughts on Mixtape,
Here's my review. Not gay enough.
So in conclusion, Mixtape is far from the worst that I've played of this genre. And I'm sure the devs' hearts were in the right place and all, but it just didn't do it for me. I thought the characters and story were extremely lame and disjointed, and I didn't like any of them. All the good, cool ideas last for like 2 seconds and are just over and done with. It tries to pay tribute to John Hughes movies without any of his writing talent. And worst of all, once again, it's not built around being a video game very well. Which, even if you like this game's narrative, I think you have to admit, yeah, it really isn't. Even though it just as easily could have been, I feel. There's just no reason I would ever willingly revisit this shit. But I also don't hate it enough to really feel anything violent about it or anything. It's a 5 out of 10 video game. It's mediocre and mid as hell. And that's my review of Mixtape. Was that so fucking hard? More interesting than Mixtape itself has been the discussion around the game. And that's not just because, again, I didn't really like Mixtape and found it really boring, although that factor certainly didn't help things at all, but rather every facet of the conversation around this game has just been fucking awful. We truly are in the darkest of time periods. Generally speaking, there have been two kinds of opinions of this game, and neither I feel are truly really in good faith at all. The first kind are the critics giving this game a 10 out of 10. Now, it's worth noting there's a huge problem with a lot of gaming critics, which is that they're not a singular voice at all. Because game reviewing isn't really seen as an art, but rather a big lucrative news article of the week. And in my opinion, that kinda fucking sucks ass. And as a result, there's something very impersonal about them. On top of that, there is evidence to suggest that maybe IGN isn't actually a critic hub, but rather a hub for people to get into the industry.
Cause look at Gaga. She's the creative director of Polaroid. I like some of the Gaga songs. What the fuck does she know about cameras?
Which, okay, it's not bad to go from journalism to game development. I'm not trying to witch hunt Elena Pierce or anything. But I wish game critics actually cared about being game critics. I specifically remember this video IGN made about why they give so many games 7s. And it feels more like a PR statement for their reviewing assembly line than anything. Whether for press reasons or future release reasons, I feel like critics are incentivized to be nicer to video games. And while I won't accuse Annapurna Persona or Mixtape of anything, I will accuse the game reviewing outlets of firing a guy for giving Kane Lynch a 6 out of 10, or taking deals from Warner Brothers to give dishonest Shadow of Mordor reviews. It gives the impression that the average gaming journalist is fake as a motherfucker. I'm not saying you should harass their families, of course, fuck that shit, but criticism of all kinds is an art itself, goddammit. I mean, some guy named Oscar Wilde wrote an essay about that, but he's probably not important at all. I just wish gaming critics were critical, you know what I mean? On this side of the aisle, Mixtape is just another game and a much bigger issue I have with gaming reviewing. So Mixtape getting 10s across the board, I feel like comes from gaming journalists being too nice and being easily swayed by vibes or whatever. But then there's the other side of grifters being weird and disingenuous about the game. It's the kind of people calling the game woke, despite the fact the game is so white you can make casserole with it. And yet pretty much anyone who isn't a big reviewer is doing this shit. Whether it's taking certain scenes out of context, like the tongue kissing scene. There's a part in the game where the main character reminisces about an awkward first kiss, and to express that, the game has like an interactive tongue and make out mini game thing. And I've seen people highlight this scene as a reason why Mixtape is bad or whatever. But the thing is, this scene is a joke. It's meant to be cringy and awkward. The game has a button prompt that says, "That's enough." Like, you aren't meant to enjoy this. In fact, for me, it's like the only scene I found really kind of slightly funny. At the very least, it amused me, unlike the rest of the fucking game. Yeah, that's the weird part. Why are we taking this scene out of context when the rest of the game is so boring? You don't have to do this.
Is this a kissing book?
Wait, just wait.
When's it get good?
People have also brought up the game's Steam charts for no reason, even though it's a single-player game that doesn't need a player base. And don't forget, the game is on a Game Pass, so this isn't even probably most of the people playing it. But more importantly, why do you even care about this? Is it not enough to just not like the video game? I've also seen people bring up the exposed billionaire ties because the game is published by Annapurna, even though it's very clear these people wouldn't have cared otherwise. I think my big question is, why do you need a moral reason to dislike a video game all of a sudden? You're accusing a video game of having an agenda while also very blatantly spreading an agenda yourself. Doesn't getting upset at that say more about you than IGN? Is your breaking point really gonna be over people whose most traumatic memory is moving out? It's the big issue I have with this culture war shit. I can have my own political disagreements with people, but there's a much bigger issue I feel is more relevant. Nobody just wants to honest to God be a hater anymore. All of a sudden, liking and or disliking Mixtape has become a giant moral argument. And man, you know, whatever happened to just playing a video game and making your own conclusions? Now, of course, this hopefully isn't the whole discussion. I mean, I didn't even like Mixtape. But you know what I did? I played the video game, gave it a fair shot, and I didn't like it. If you hate Mixtape, that's fine, but do it on your own terms. In conclusion, the reaction to Mixtape has me disappointed. People are praising and shitting on the game for reasons that feel very inauthentic and ingenuine. Long story short, can't you all just be fucking normal? Anyways, that's my tangent on how bleak things are. It's really weird how this is the game to kind of break everything. The most flamin' hot 5 out of 10 yet created. It's better than most games in this genre, but that's not really saying a lot. I also do agree that this game fails at being a video game, which is a shame because there are some cool concepts in here that could be a cool video game. But I wish more people could have that discussion instead of just lying about the fucking game. No, the game isn't the next coming of Christ, but it also isn't the rise of Stalin either. Mixtape is, controversially, one of the video games ever made, and I'm never going to play it ever again. I give Crimson Desert a 1 out of 10.
Fuck you in the lanes you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch, nah. Throw that shit in fifth, rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue hundreds, I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat, lay back. Baby, gon' relax, yeah. Ay, they don't know the half, yeah. No matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah. We can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Yeah, we can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still had to have it. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah.
Cheeseburger, cheese.
I have a ton of gay porn, actually. He knows. I am a major yaoi freak. But only if it's manga and anime. Because I'm just a pervert like that. But we're not talking about me, we're talking about you. I'm a major yaoi freak.
I have a ton of gay porn, actually.
Don't eat that shit like that, shit like that.